There's a number that changes everything. Not $1 million, not even 100,000. A number so small that most people scroll past it without a second thought. A number that, on paper, doesn't look like it should matter that much at all. $10,000. That's it. That's the number. And I know what you're thinking. $10,000 isn't life-changing money. You can't retire on it. You can't buy a house with it. In the grand scheme of wealth, it barely registers. But here's what's strange. Talk to anyone who has genuinely built wealth. Not inherited it, not gotten lucky, but actually built it from nothing. And almost every single one of them will point to one moment as the turning point. One moment where the entire relationship with money shifted, where the cycle they'd been stuck in for years suddenly broke open. And that moment, more often than not, happened somewhere around $10,000 saved. Not because of the number itself, but because of what reaching that number does to your brain, your behavior, your decisions, and your options. In 2026, with inflation still biting, with cost of living higher than it's ever been, and with more financial pressure on young people than any generation before them, this milestone matters more than ever. And most people are going to miss it, not because they can't reach it, but because nobody ever explained to them what it actually means. So that's what we're doing today. The brutal, honest truth about the $10,000 milestone, why it breaks the broke cycle, and exactly what flips on the other side of it. Let's be honest about what the broke cycle actually looks like. It's not dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It just quietly repeats month after month in the background of your life. Money comes in, money goes out. Something unexpected happens. A car repair, a medical bill, a phone that breaks, a flight you have to book last minute, and suddenly you're behind. You spend the next few weeks catching up. You finally get level again, and then something else happens. This is what financial experts call living in a state of financial fragility. And it's not just uncomfortable, it's expensive. Here's the part that rarely gets talked about. Being broke costs more money than not being broke. Think about it. When your car breaks down and you don't have savings, you put it on a credit card. Now you're paying 20, sometimes 25% interest on that repair, on top of the repair itself. When your washing machine dies and you can't replace it outright, you either go to a laundromat every week or you finance a new one at a predatory interest rate. When a flight gets cheaper 2 months before your trip, but you don't have the cash available, you buy it last minute and pay 3 times more. Every single emergency that catches you without a financial cushion costs you extra. And those extra costs keep draining the money you were trying to save. It's a loop, and it feeds itself. This is the broke cycle. Not a spending addiction, not a laziness problem, a structural trap that punishes people for not having money by continuously taking more of it away. And the exit ramp, the thing that interrupts the loop, is a savings buffer large enough to absorb life's inevitable chaos without sending you backward. That buffer is $10,000. Let's break down exactly what happens when you cross this threshold, step by step. The first thing that changes is your relationship with emergencies. The average unexpected expense, a car repair, a dental procedure, a broken appliance, a sudden job gap, costs somewhere between $1,000 and $4,000. For someone with $200 in savings, that's a catastrophe. For someone with $10,000, it's an inconvenience. That's not a small distinction. That's the entire difference between an event that derails your finances for 6 months and an event that costs you a Tuesday afternoon and a withdrawal. When emergencies stop being catastrophes, your entire nervous system around money changes. And that nervous system change, the shift from financial anxiety to financial stability, affects your decision-making in ways that are much deeper than most people realize. There's a field of research called scarcity psychology, developed by economists Sendil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir. Their work showed something remarkable. When people are in a state of financial scarcity, constantly worried about not having enough, their cognitive bandwidth actually decreases. Mental space that would otherwise go toward planning, problem-solving, and long-term thinking gets consumed by the stress of immediate financial pressure. In plain terms, being financially stressed makes you worse at thinking clearly about money. It's not that broke people make bad decisions because they're irresponsible. It's that the constant pressure of scarcity hijacks the mental resources needed to make good ones. $10,000 doesn't just give you a financial cushion, it gives your brain space to breathe.
And a brain that isn't in survival mode makes fundamentally better financial decisions. The second thing that changes is your leverage at work. This one is subtle but powerful. When you have no savings and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you need your job desperately. And when you need something desperately, you lose your negotiating power completely. You can't push back on an unfair situation. You can't walk away from a toxic environment. You can't wait for a better offer. You take what you're given because the alternative, even a few weeks without income, is genuinely terrifying. With $10,000 saved, you have a runway, not a long one, but enough to negotiate for what you're worth, enough to leave a situation that's draining you, enough to take a calculated risk on a new opportunity without gambling your entire financial stability on it. The third change is psychological, and it might be the most important of all. When you save your first $10,000, you prove something to yourself that no motivational video can prove for you. You prove that you can do it, that the version of you who said, "I can't save money," was wrong, that you have the capability to build something over time, to delay gratification, to make a plan and follow through on it. That identity shift is enormous, because the way you think about yourself determines the financial decisions you make every single day. Someone who believes they're bad with money will unconsciously make decisions that confirm that belief. Someone who has evidence, real, tangible, numerical evidence that they can build savings, will start making decisions that protect and grow what they've built. The milestone creates the mindset, not the other way around. Here's the deeper truth about why most people never reach this number, even when they have the income to do it. It's not the math. The math is simple. $10,000 divided over 2 years is roughly $415 a month. Over 3 years, it's about $280. These are real numbers that fit into real budgets for most people earning a steady income. The problem is the goal feels too abstract for too long. Human motivation doesn't respond well to distant, invisible targets. Your brain needs feedback. It needs to feel like progress is happening. And for the first several months of saving toward $10,000, the progress feels agonizingly slow. You save $300 in month 1. You have $300. That's 3% of your goal. Your brain looks at that and feels almost nothing. In fact, research on goal pursuit shows that people are most likely to abandon a goal in the early stages, not because the goal is too hard, but because the gap between where they are and where they want to be feels so large that the effort doesn't seem worth it. This is called the valley of disappointment. It's the stretch where the work is happening, but the results aren't visible yet, and it's where most savings journeys die. The way to survive the valley of disappointment is to stop measuring against the final goal and start measuring against yesterday. $300 saved is $300 more than zero. $1,000 is a genuine emergency buffer for a small crisis. $2,500 means you could survive a full month without income. Every sub-milestone on the way to $10,000 has real, tangible value. The goal isn't just to reach $10,000, it's to become the kind of person who moves steadily towards it. There's also something worth understanding about the way wealth compounds, psychologically, not just financially. The first $1,000 is the hardest. It requires the most behavior change, the most discipline, the most resistance to old habits. The second $1,000 is slightly easier because the habit is forming and the identity is shifting. By the time you're pushing from $7,000 to $10,000, something remarkable has happened. Saving has become your default. Protecting what you've built has become instinctive. The behaviors that felt like sacrifice in the beginning now feel like common sense. The goal of $10,000 isn't just the destination, it's the training ground for everything that comes after it.
So how do you actually get there in 2026 when everything costs more and the margins feel thinner than ever? First, get specific about your timeline. Don't just say, "I want to save $10,000." Say, "I will reach $10,000 by March 2027, or whatever timeline is realistic for your income. A vague goal has no traction. A dated goal has a deadline, and deadlines activate a different part of your brain entirely. Second, open a dedicated account and name it, not savings account. Name it Freedom Fund or Break the Cycle, something that connects to why you're doing this. As we've talked about before, your brain responds to stories and identity, not numbers. Make this account feel like it belongs to the future version of you who has already made it. Third, work backward. If your target is $10,000 in 20 months, that's $500 a month. Can your current income support that? If yes, automate it immediately and don't negotiate with yourself about it. If not, what's the realistic number? $300 a month? $200? Start there. A smaller, consistent contribution that you actually maintain beats an aggressive plan you abandon in month 3. Fourth, and this is crucial in 2026, put your savings somewhere that earns something. High-yield savings accounts are currently offering rates that were unimaginable a few years ago. Your $10,000 goal isn't just sitting there collecting dust anymore. It's generating modest but real returns while you build it. That interest compounds your motivation as much as your balance. Fifth, protect the account like it has rules. An emergency fund is not a things I really want fund. It is not a this flight deal is too good to pass up fund. It is a my life just threw something genuinely unexpected at me fund. Every time you dip into it for a non-emergency, you reset the psychological progress, not just the financial balance. The discipline of protecting the account is where the real character building happens. Here's the honest truth about 2026. More people are financially stressed right now than at almost any point in recent memory. The cost of housing, food, transportation, and basic living has outpaced wage growth for millions of people. Social media makes it feel like everyone around you is thriving while you're just surviving, and the advice most people receive about money is either too complicated, too generic, or too disconnected from the reality of actually living on a normal income. In that environment, $10,000 isn't just a savings goal, it's a statement. It's you saying, I am not going to let the broke cycle define my financial life. I am not going to keep paying the poverty premium, the extra cost of being underprepared. I am not going to let every unexpected expense send me back to square one. $10,000 is the line between financial fragility and financial stability. It doesn't make you rich, it doesn't solve everything, but it changes the game in ways you cannot fully appreciate until you're on the other side of it. Your options expand, your anxiety contracts, your decisions improve, your identity shifts, and once you're on the other side, once you've proven to yourself that you can build and protect a real financial foundation, the next milestone doesn't feel distant or impossible. It feels like the natural next step. Because that's what actually breaks the broke cycle. Not a raise, not a windfall, not luck. The moment you stop being someone who hopes things will get easier and start being someone who builds something regardless, that moment starts at $10,000. And it starts the day you decide to take it seriously.